Hello and welcome to Restore. My name's Rhiana Laws and I am Scottish Ballet's health artist. Today is a webinar for all health and social care staff across the whole of Scotland, so a very warm welcome to you all. Now, today is going to be a mixture of talking and moving. So it might be useful to have a glass of water to hand or something that you can drink if you need it. We're going to touch briefly on how stress and trauma are played out in the body, and also touch briefly upon how movement and breath can be used to ease this stress and trauma in the body. And then at the end, I'll make sure that there's time for some questions and possible answers, hopefully. I've built in some time to get your feedback because it's really important to us to make sure that we are putting together resources for you that genuinely help. So I've built that feedback into the session. And then at the end, I will signpost you to a whole host of Scottish Ballet resources that again have been made specifically for health and social care staff. So in terms of tech today, any tech issues that come up, what we suggest is try signing out and signing back in again. If that doesn't work for you, we do have somebody on hand, Tobin. You can type some messages and he can help out there. A recording of one of the webinars is going to be sent out to all attendees, and if everything goes wrong technically for you, there are still 3 more webinars, so if you have the time you could always sign up to another one, but hopefully everything this morning will go very smoothly. Behind the scenes with us today, we have my colleague Elaine from Scottish Ballet, and as the session goes, if you've got any questions at all, you can use the question and answer function. So if you look on the top bar, you should see a little speech bubble with a question mark in it. So if you click on that, you can send in your questions. Elaine's going to keep an eye on them throughout the session, and then as I say, at the end there'll be some time and we can address those. So she'll be keeping an eye on that for us. Okay, so to start, what I'd like to do is invite you actually to start using this chat function, this question function, and I'm going to ask you to think of maybe 3 words to describe how you're doing today. And this can be anything. This could be how you are physically today, how you are emotionally, mentally. You might want to get descriptive. Tell me what colour you're feeling. So if you're happy to, type it into the question and answer, and we can have a little look and see how everyone's doing. If you prefer, you can just have a think of it to yourself or make a little note, and keep these to hand for later on, because we are going to come back to how you've been feeling at the start of the session and compare once you've done a bit of movement and breathing. So I'm just going to see if we've got anything coming through from anybody at the moment. Sometimes it takes a little while for things to come through. So just anything about how you are today. And as the webinars have been rolling on, we've had all sorts of different feedback from people. We've had lots and lots of different descriptive words. So here, hello everybody, we've got, so someone's feeling good. I'm glad to hear it. Happy Wednesday. Weary, tired and flat. Okay, yes, I hear you. Still waking up, yes. Quite calm but nervous, long day. All right, yes, because I know there's going to be a whole host of different working patterns amongst us all. Rushed, tired, stressed. I'm feeling excited about this session. That's wonderful, me too. Hopeful and relaxed. Deflated, sore, tired, okay. Let's see, sore shoulders. Okay, hopefully we'll have something to help out there. Emotional, vulnerable. Okay. Back aching, but excited about the sunshine. Well, I don't know where you are. There's no sunshine in the borders today. hurried, hassled, but happy. Relaxed and happy. It's my day off. Looking forward to the session. Happy day off. Tired, headache, positive, awake, alert, energized. Somebody did Joe Wicks this morning. Well done. Enthusiastic, tense. We've got frazzled coming through. Glad my P2 is back at school. Yes. Quite sore, stiff joints. Curious, apprehensive. Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you so much, everybody that's chosen to share how you're feeling. So as we can see, we've got very up and down. We've got a mix. Dead arm from a second dose of vaccine yesterday. So happy to have had that. That is good news. Okay, if you are somebody who has got a sore arm from vaccine time, then only do what feels comfortable in the movement. That's really important. Okay, there's tons here. Thank you so much for sharing all of that today. So a real range, of course. We're humans. We've got an entire spectrum of emotion and sensations going on in our body. So thinking now of this awareness that you've just generated for yourself about how you are today, I'm going to ask you to see if you can tune in a little bit more. Are you able to sense where in your body you feel these things? Now, you don't have to write in unless you'd like to share these things. But I've been noticing we've had some obvious things. So there's been talk of some stiff and sore shoulders. Okay, so that's an obvious one. There's something very tangible in the body there. We've had notice of people feeling tense. So I would ask you, where is that tension? Is it shoulders? Is it in your abdomen? Is it in your stomach? People were talking about feeling tired. Where is that tiredness? Is it in your brain, in your mind? Is it a full body thing? So this can be quite difficult to do sometimes, to start sensing into the body. But if you've started to detect, yeah, okay, I've got some sensations in my body, I've got some tension, or I've got some nervous anxiety perhaps surrounding your tummy area, I'm going to invite you to place your hands on those body parts. So it could be that if I've been feeling a bit anxious, me personally, I hold my anxiety just here, up quite at the top of the abdomen. Somebody mentioned a sore shoulder. So perhaps one hand would be on the shoulder and one hand would be on the abdomen. If you've got a very busy brain and it feels okay for you to bring your hands to your head, you can. If you've got no idea where it is in your body, you just know you're feeling these things, take your hands to a place where they feel comfortable. Could be in your lap, could be on your chest. And whether you're sitting or standing at the moment, I'm going to invite you to make a choice whether you keep your eyes open here or whether you keep them closed. And I'm going to suggest that you take 3 smooth, deep breaths. So wherever your hands are, I'll take mine here. In your own time, so you're not following me for this breathing. A nice inhale and sending that exhale away. And the exhale is starting to think about trying to drop any tension in our shoulders, trying to release our abdomen. Let your belly be soft. Let go in your glutes. Let your thighs unclench if they are holding on to any muscular tension there. And once you've taken 3 deep breaths, we'll take 3 smoothing actions. So again, wherever your hands are, a little bit of smoothing here. And then you can let your hands come down by your sides or back into your lap or wherever you'd like them to be. And that's just a little way that we've been able to start checking in with our own bodies today. So now let's come to how stress and tension are held in the body, because that's exactly where it all happens. Stress and trauma are physiological responses. So they're not events. Yes, events can be stressful, events can be traumatic, but it is the physiological response that causes the stress and the trauma in our bodies. And that's what we need to address. What's happening in our bodies needs to be addressed in our bodies. So if we think of a classic fight, flight, freeze response, what we see is the heart rate elevating. We see the breath pattern getting more shallow and more rapid. We have blood being diverted away from the digestive system and towards all the big muscle groups in case we need to flee and get to a place of safety. It can be typical that our extremities can get cold, but equally, we know that as people do start to generate a stress response, sometimes our palms can actually get quite clammy and sweaty. We're all a little bit different. Vision and hearing can sometimes sharpen and focus in. So if you've heard of tunnel vision, then that's kind of often where this relates from, this heightened response. And all of this stress response has been developed to help us survive. And crucially, it's not only about survival, but it's about thriving as well. So in a stress response back in the day, it might be that we were out hunting and gathering and we were in danger, our life was under threat from possibly a wild animal and we needed to flee from safety. Now, for the majority of us today, fleeing from a wild animal is not what we have to contend with on a daily basis, but our stress responses are still the same. So on the whole, in our society, the things that are going to trigger our stress and our trauma response at the moment for us, fast-paced living, fast-paced working. Put all of that into the context of a pandemic, and what we have is a lot of people who are maintaining this high alert state because there is stuff to be dealing with everywhere. If we are operating at this elevated state where the chemicals, the hormones in our bodies are on a high spike, so the adrenaline's up, your cortisol's up, and actually it doesn't let up, what we're responding to doesn't give us that chance to come back down to this baseline neutral, this physiological normal, then actually we're living on high alert constantly. And that chronic stress response can actually nudge us over into a state of trauma. So it's really important that we find ways that work for us to be able to try to complete this stress response loop so that our hormones can come up, but we are using our body and our breath to come back down. And it is really important for us to remember, especially if we are living with a sort of a state of chronic stress, that actually what goes up in our physiology, it can come down, okay? So it's very common for us to have developed ways of coping. So, for example, it's very common to hear people saying that they need caffeine to get going, or they need sugar to get through, or glass of wine in the evening to wind down, bit of a Netflix binge at the weekend to switch the brain off. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. What's important to remember is that whilst these things are common, the need for them suggests an underlying physiological response that hasn't yet switched off. Okay, so it's not about judging whether or not we're watching Netflix or having a glass of wine. It's about us going, what's happening for me underneath? If I'm still wound up, what can I do to wind down and complete that stress response? So that is why Scottish Ballet are here with movement and breath toolkit that we've developed for you at work. Now, the reason specifically movement and breath is what we're wanting to address is because when we kick into a stress response, our body, we are on the reactive, on the defensive. So our muscles tense, we know that already. Very often our postures start to close in because we're our systems, even if we know our life's not in danger, our systems, as I say, are on the defensive. They're ready to flee or fight or freeze. Okay, so we start to naturally get smaller. We close in. This closing in actually restricts our breathing capacity because we're tense and we're small. So by moving, what we can do is we can start opening our postures out. We can start growing to our full height instead of being ready to get out of here. Grow to our full height, and we start to send different signals to our brain. So in this tense, drawn in position, the message is going to our brain is that there is still a threat and that I need to be ready to get away. But if we start to deepen our breath, which can help to slow the heart rate down, we start to open, we perhaps introduce some more flowing movements, then the signal changes and it says to the brain, this environment, this body is a safe place to be right now. And this is coming back to the beginning when I was saying that stress and trauma are rooted and played out in the body, therefore they need addressing in the body. It's a way of completing this loop. So the moving part, that's what we're going to come to now. The moving part, we're going to move for about 30 minutes. It's all guided by me. It's very gentle. The important thing to remember is that this movement section of 30 minutes is not an expectation that you're going to take 30 minutes of moving into your day, unless you want to. This section, everything breaks down. So every little movement I'm going to be doing with you in isolation on its own takes less than 1 minute to do. So this section is about offering you a toolkit with lots of different movement options, some of which you might like to carry through with you into your life, your working life. Everything that I'm doing can be adapted. It's really important. We've had mention of dead arms and stiff shoulders. Please only do what feels comfortable and safe for your body. Okay, this is not about looking like me doing it or me looking like anybody else doing it. This is our body, our environment, so we can adapt. Crucially, if something hurts, stop. Please stop. Okay, that's a body signal that's dead important to listen to. Just now, before we start, check your space that you can move your arms and your legs freely around you without kicking into anything. If you are at home, just check that there's no trip hazards, no pet cats or dogs getting in underneath your feet. At the end of the session, I'm going to be directing you to a resource, which is a film of all the movement I'm about to do with you today that can act as a quick reference guide reminder. So I'll give you more of a pointer to that shortly. I think the only other thing to say to you is that the music is by a musician called Adam Stearns. It's been written especially for this session, so I hope you like it. I'll get the music going now. You can do this sitting, you can do this standing. It's up to you. So whilst you're getting yourself in a place that you'd like to move, I'm going to introduce you to the rule of 3. So the rule of 3 is a suggestion that any of the individual movements that you're taking, I suggest doing them 3 times. And this is because 3 is enough for your body to register, to experience, and then to benefit from what has just happened physically. It also means that 3 times through, done little and often throughout the day, is going to offer you a cumulative positive impact on your physical and mental well-being. So little and often, and the rule of 3, I'd encourage you to consider that. Okay, so to begin, standing or sitting with your feet comfortably wide apart underneath you. Let's take a deep breath in and lift our arms up to the ceiling and lower them out to the sides. And as you do, grow tall through your head, lift your chin Actually lift your eyes off the screen so that you're casting your eye line up and out. And feel tall as you possibly can in this moment. Taking one deep breath in and an exhale. Good. Okay, let's bring our hands together and we're going to give them a rub. And you can take in the backs of your hands as well. And we're rubbing fast enough that we're trying to generate a little bit of heat right now. And then take this rub into some body brushes. So up and down the arm, inside arm and outside arm, all the way up to the shoulder. And again, brush firmly enough that you start to wake the skin up. And then we can take that as a circular rubbing action or a sweep, it's up to you, across the chest and then down the other side. And as I say, this is all about waking up the skin. So up and down, up and down. Now take these body brushes anywhere on your body that you're happy to. So you can take in the torso, round to the back if you're happy to reach round, and down the legs. Now, if you are someone that's wearing a lot of PPE equipment during your work, then this is a nice one to do at the beginning or the end of your shift to really wake up the skin. Actually, for anyone. Okay, we're going to stop the brushing and we're going to bring it to a shake now. So we start by shaking one wrist, one hand, floppy as possible. And if space allows, start to take that into a full arm shake. And you can shake it anywhere you like around you. And then we'll switch sides. So we'll come to the other hand, make it floppy. And then space allowing, give it a good shake anywhere in the space that you like. And now let's come to a leg. And if you want to, you can hold onto a wall or a chair for support. Give your leg a good shake. Try and let go from the hip so that your thigh and your calf muscle can be floppy as well. And then let's switch. Bring it to the other side. Again, as floppy as possible. Want those muscles wobbling around. And then we're going to come and bring everything into a shake. All of it. Shake everything you got. Heads, torsos, arms and legs. And then we can stop there. Great. So that's all about buzzing awake the skin and the body through some shaking. So sitting or standing with your feet wide apart, we're going to take 3 deep breaths, breathing the arms above our heads. So this is 1. Breath in. Now exhale and drop. Heavy arms. Let's do 2 more of those, exactly the same. Breath in. And drop it all. Last one, number 3. And exhale. Good. Now we're going to take some cross-body presses. And we'll start with 2 low. So we've got 1 across the body, another one. Now bring it to medium height. Shoulder height, pressing across, across. Now up high. Reaching up. And reaching up, and then we finish this bringing the arms up through the middle and circling them out to the side. Let's go again, exactly the same. Press low twice. Now medium. Press, press. Up high, press. And then both hands come up through the middle, circle them wide. Let's go again. Low, medium, high, through the middle. Fantastic. Take it to a flick. Flick low, flick low, flick medium, up high, and we sweep through the middle. This is exactly the same, no change. Flicking low, low. Now put some effort into this as you go. It's a nice way to gently start elevating the heart rate in a really positive way. Last time through, flicking. This is also a good one if you've got some frustration you want to get rid of. You can fully hit off your fingers. And up and out. Good. Okay. We're going to come to our necks, shoulders and torso now. So we're going to start by rolling one shoulder backwards. Here we go. Now pick up an elbow. Good. Now pick the hand and draw a huge circle all the way around and end up high. Now we're going to rotate the wrist as you come down. This is great for the circulation. We'll go on the other side. So one shoulder rolls backwards. Now pick up the elbow, make a big circle with that one. Drop the arm and then huge arm circle that finishes up. And then we've got a wrist circle on the way down. And if your hands ever get chilly tapping away at the computer, some wrist circles are lovely to get the heat back into your hands. Okay, two shoulders, same time. Two shoulders circle. So two elbows circle as well. Both hands circle behind you. Raise the arms above your head. And if you want, you can rotate the wrists in the opposite direction. All the way down. Great. Now we're going to breathe our arms up to shoulder height, breath in. And as we exhale, you're going to come into a big wrap position, a big hug here. Now you're going to drop your chin into the hug. And you can either stay here and just breathe as feels good for you, or if I turn sideways, you can curve over so that you're getting a little bit more of a stretch in your upper back. And be here for as long as feels nice. And then as you inhale, open the arms to the side and you can lower them down again. I suggest doing that one 3 times through. It's beautiful for opening the back and easing any tension that might be pinching in between your shoulder blades. Okay, we're going to interlace our fingers now in front of us. Standing with your feet or sitting with your feet comfortably wide apart, we're going to breathe in as we lift our palms up in front of our chest. Now flip your palms so that they're facing away from you, and as you exhale, push your palms away. Breathe in, raise the arms above your head, and as you lower, you can bring those wrist circles back in again if you'd like to. That's the complete sequence. Let's go again. So interlace the fingers, gather a breath in. Flip the palms, push them away as you exhale. Inhale the arms above the head and rotate the wrists in the opposite direction. If your wrists and forearms are getting a little sore from the rotations, just leave them out. Last, interlace and lift. Flip the palms, press away. Breathing in and lowering the arms with or without some wrist rotations. Good, a little shake if it's needed. Now we're going to take the same interlace, but this time we're going to take it behind us here. We're going to draw the hands down the back and the shoulders down. You can lift your chin to increase and get a little stretch down the front of the throat. Now, as you release and come back to a normal stand or sit, you can twist. An easy twist. And by easy, I mean we're not forcing. This is gentle. We're starting to get a little bit of rotation in the spine. Let's go again. Interlace the fingers behind you. Draw down the back. Press the shoulders down. Lift the chin up. Feel that stretch. Release the hands and a twist that feels right to you. Now, if you are doing this from a seated position, come slightly further forwards on your chair so that you've got space behind you to interlace the fingers. You can do everything exactly the same. When it comes to the release and the twist, if the chair is getting in your way, You can bring your fingertips to your shoulders, keep the elbows lifted, and take a twist from here. Okay. If coming further forwards in your chair isn't actually possible for you, then there's a really nice variation to get a stretch in the front, which is to take a breaststroke action forwards, sweep the arms back. I've got the wall in the way, make sure there's no wall in the way. Breaststroke forwards, sweep the arms behind you as far as is comfortable to go, press the shoulders down and lift the chin from there. So that's a couple of adaptations for you to think about. Okay, we're going to come into a side stretch now. So stand or sit with your feet nicely wide apart, firmly planted on the ground. We're going to take a breath in, fingertips to shoulder, lift your elbow. Now, as you exhale, we're going to lengthen this side of the body so that we come into a side stretch here. Breathe for as long as you feel comfortable to be in this side stretch, and then on an exhale, you can recover to a neutral stand. So let's try that on the other side. Always even your sides out. So breathe the elbow up, and then exhale to lengthen down this side. Now be careful that you don't shift your weight with you, okay? You still want weight equally on 2 feet. Also, careful that you haven't closed off. Be proud across the front of the chest. You breathe for as long as you want to be here, and then on your exhale, you return. Let's take it again. Breath in. Exhale to lengthen. If you'd like to, you can elongate that top arm, stretch it over your head, and then come back to neutral. Other side. Breathing in. And exhale, long sides. Check that your shoulder hasn't closed in. Proud chest. And then open. Now, these side stretches are a brilliant way of really taking care of how much capacity you've got to breathe. So as we talked about, when we're tense and we're on high alert, we shrink in. This opening along the sides, it opens little spaces in between the rib cages, and it gets rid of that kind of that tension, that corseting of the lungs. Gives us that ability to breathe. Drop that diaphragm, pull in fresh air into your lungs, get rid of all the old air. So this, looking after our sides, is important. They can compress, especially if we're standing and sitting for long periods of time. If you're sitting, you can hold on to one side of your chair for extra stability. Whether you're standing or sitting, a variation of the side stretch is to breathe your arm out via the sides and then exhale here. And then breathe for as long as you want to be here and returning. And then on the other side, scoop that arm up. This can be done standing as well as seated. And then recover. Now, when you are doing this from a seated position, it's very important to make sure that you don't tip. So again, both hips evenly placed on the chair. Okay. So we're going to come to a calf stretch now to think about keeping our lower body, our legs in good shape. So I'm going to tilt my camera down, and Elaine, if I step back, but can you see me there, Elaine?
That's absolutely fine here.
Brilliant. Thank you. Okay, so to start our calf stretch, this is from a standing position. Make sure that your toes are all pointing in the same direction. Then take one foot behind you and connect the heel to the floor. That's important. Bend the front leg. Make sure that your hips are facing forwards, same direction as your knee, okay? Be here and breathe for as long as it feels comfortable to do so. Then soften that back knee and you can give the leg a little shake. And if you need to hold on to a wall or a chair for stability, you can. Now let's even out on the other side. So pacing one leg behind you, the heel connects to the floor. If this stretch isn't enough for you, you can increase it by lengthening the leg away from you. If it's too much, draw it in, okay? Bend the front knee, hips face forwards, heel connects. You breathe. When it's okay to come out, soften the back knee and give it a shake. Okay, so that's one for if you're standing. Now that one's quite nice because you can be making a cup of tea and doing that calf stretch, or even standing at a standing work desk or workstation. You can be stretching your calf muscles, multitasking. If you're wanting to activate a stretch down the back of your leg from a seated position, you may, depending how long your legs are, you may need to come forwards on the chair. I definitely do need to. Hold on to the sides of your chair for extra stability. Flex your foot so that your toes are pointing to the ceiling and your heel is connected to the floor. Grow tall in your torso. Inhale, and on your exhale, pitch forwards from the hips and come far enough forwards to the point where you feel an activation down the back of the leg. And you'll know it when you find it. Don't push past the point, don't push into a painful place. This is just activating. And we breathe, be here for as long as we want to, and then we recover and draw that leg in. And of course, always, always evening our sides out. Flex, toes to the ceiling, heel on the floor. Grow tall, hold on to your chair. Exhale as you pitch forwards. Feel that stretch down the back of the leg. Be here for as long as you want to be, and then come on out. Now, if you are having any issues with swollen feet or stiff ankles, then sitting or standing and taking an ankle rotation in each direction on both legs, that can help bring the circulation back down to your feet again. If you're at home and you feel comfortable to do so, you can elevate your legs and then do some ankle rotations, perhaps lying on your back with your feet up in the air. Now, there can be contraindications for this, so if you've got any issues with blood pressure, please just check with a doctor before you do anything, okay? Okay, so we're going to think now, just going to tilt this a little bit. Okay. We're going to think now about our breathing. So we've talked a lot about getting the full capacity in the lungs. So we can inhale. There's often a lot of emphasis placed on the inhale. Thinking about your exhale, I'm going to give you a little technique. Imagine that you're misting a window. So you could hold up a hand or some fingers in front of you. As you breathe in through your nose, we're then going to exhale onto our hands through slightly parted lips with a gap between our top and bottom jaw, as if we're misting a window. So we can do this together. So we've got a breath in through the nose and then breathing out. And you keep breathing out, exhale until your lungs are completely empty. And then you can draw all that fresh air back in. Now, this is a good one for starting to think about softening your jaw. Again, it's trying to change the message that's going to the brain. If our jaw is tense, then it's likely that our neck and our shoulders are going to follow into that tension. It's going to travel down the body, and our pelvic floor as well is going to be tense. So if we can start to relax and open that jaw a little bit, that allows the neck and the shoulders to ease, and that does travel down to the pelvic floor. And again, the message to the brain is my environment, my body is a safe place to be. We can come down a couple of notches, okay? All right, We're going to take our feet wide now, and we're going to come into a breathing sequence to do together. So sitting or standing, feet wide. And this is a follow along. So we're going to gather our arms in as we take a breath in. Push the palms away as you exhale. Push away. Now gather the arms in as you breathe in. This time, press your palms and exhale out to the sides. Now we're going to breathe the hands with our inhale all the way up above our heads and exhale as long as it takes to empty our lungs, our arms following the length of that breath. That's the end of that sequence. Let's do that 2 more times together. Breath in, gather. Press, exhale. Gather, press sides. Inhale all the way up above your head. And exhale long and slow all the way down. Let's go. Last time. Number 3. Good. Take your time with that exhale. Now that breathing sequence is fantastic for finding calm and really helping to address your focus. A moment of calm helps the focus of the mind. Okay. We're going to come now into what's called a power pose. You might be familiar with these. Feet wide, arms wide. We make a broad star shape. We lift our chins and we lift our eye lines, standing tall. Now you stand in this wide, tall, strong shape for 3 deep breaths. Or if you're getting a bit dizzy from lots of deep breathing, just a neutral breathing pattern. This shape is great for boosting confidence. It gives a confidence message to the brain, genuinely. Also, if you've not had much personal space, then this is a great one. If you've had a lot of PPE equipment or you've been in and amongst a lot of equipment, this is great for reclaiming your personal space. It's a fabulous one to do discreetly for yourself in the toilet cubicle if you need a little boost during the day. And it is possible to fake this until you make this. So give your brain this message. All right, drop your arms if you haven't already. That was quite a lot, but that power pose, we should be feeling quite strong then after that one. Okay, I'm just going to check the time. Okay, so thinking about walking now, we can use our commute to and from work. We can use a walk that's for us or for walking the dog. It could even be a walk that's in our home if we're working from home or in our place of work. We can time our breath over several paces so that we breathe in, let's say 3 paces, breathing in, and then we exhale for another 3 paces. It's a great way to start regulating your breath. So wherever you are, if you're able to, start walking around your space. Could be that you don't have much room, that's okay. You can take a bit of a weavy pathway. And just for yourself, you set the tempo. Start to breathe in over a number of steps forward, something that feels achievable for you right now. And then exhale over the same or maybe more steps as you go. So for example, I might be at work, needing to get from one place to another. I'm going to breathe in for 3 paces and breathe out for 3 paces. And that is a little moment that I've carved out for myself to start regulating my breath. You could be on your way down the corridor, and it's a way of taking that time to start paying attention to drawing fresh oxygen into your brain. That fresh oxygen goes straight to your brain, straight to your muscles, and it really helps with that clarity and that focus. Okay. Something for busy brains. Now I know that, there we go. I know that thoughts can be flying, and you're not alone in that. So two options. We can take a hand around our forehead, and we can place our other hand at the base of our skull underneath here. Now, if you're able to do this with me now, notice the temperature of your touch on your forehead and around the back of your skull. Notice whether your hands feel a little bit cool or whether they're warm, and feel that pressing. So we're not trying to squeeze, but our touch is firm enough that we are very aware of it. Now you can close your eyes here if you like, and take for yourself 3 breaths, or you can keep your eyes open, that's fine too. If your thoughts start to fly, that's okay. Come back to the sensation of touch around your head. And then after your 3 breaths, you can remove your hands. And again, you've created a tiny little moment of focus that takes you away from your thoughts, even if just momentarily. It's going to be helpful. Now, I know that a lot of workplaces are definitely encouraging people to touch their faces as little as possible. So if that applies to you, then you can always take your hands onto your chest instead. And again, press firmly enough that you may be able to detect the rise and fall of your breath underneath your hands, possibly even your heart beating. Depending what you're wearing, you may be able to detect the temperature of your hands through your clothing. And again, you can have your eyes closed or open whilst you take 3 breaths. And when your thoughts fly, come back to the feeling of touch. And then you can remove your hands. Okay, the last little tool that I'm going to leave you with is actually something for you to go away and think about. And I'm calling this an anchor point. So an anchor point is one movement that you can team up with 1 breath, but if you do it regularly enough, it can become a trigger to your body. That's a signal to relax, to release any tension. So for example, if we take a finger in the palm of our hand and squeeze as hard as you can. Now what's happening in this moment is I feel, I feel the squeeze, I feel my finger, therefore I feel my body. I'm going to take 1 deep breath in, 1 deep breath out, and that's my little cue to myself to just let go as much tension as I can. It could be, sometimes people like to press into the fleshy part just beneath their thumb with their other thumb. So you're pressing into that pad and then you're squeezing with your finger on the other side of your hand there. Okay, now I could be talking to a colleague here and nobody would know what I'm doing. But again, if I'm starting to feel rising anxiety, I can squeeze. This is my body. I'm here right now. I take a deep breath. I let go. And that's my reminder to myself. So for your anchor point, it's about you finding 1 movement that works for you. Sometimes easing the back of the neck can be a nice one to do. Sometimes even a little tap in the center of the chest here with a breath in and out. And that becomes our anchor point if we do it regularly enough. Okay, to bring the moving section to a close now, let's finish all together by sitting or standing with as tall a posture as we can find right now. We're going to imagine that there's a thread tied to the top of our head and we're going to pull up And I bet you just grew about an inch just then doing that. Lift your chin and take your eyes off the screen. Let's take a breath and breathe our arms up above our heads. And as you exhale, lower the arms out via the sides. Keep your eyes lifted, your chin lifted, your body tall and strong. Feel this posture for the last time this session. And then you can give yourself a little shake to come out of it. All right, nice. Okay, so that's the end of the moving. So if you've been standing, you can find a place to sit again now. If you want to, you can of course stay standing. I'm just gonna pause that music. Wonderful. So have a sip of water if you've got some to hand. Find yourself comfortable again. And I'm going to invite you to notice how you're feeling now, having just done some moving, having done some breathing. And if you would like to share, using the question and answer function, share again a couple of descriptive words, could be 3, could be a short sentence, of how you feel now. Now, it could be that you feel different. Maybe there's been a positive change, that moving and that breathing has shifted something for you today, in which case that's fantastic. Equally, you could be out there right now thinking, I don't feel any different. That's okay. You have not done this wrong. It's very common that if we've been operating on high alert for a long time, it can take a bit longer for things to start to sink into our body, which is why I keep suggesting doing things little and often, because it will break that surface and help at some point. So we've got some responses coming through. Invigorated and slightly tingly, that's great to hear. Glowing and fresh, they're nice words. Positive, invigorated, more relaxed, good. Energized, ready for the day. A lot taller, yes, me too actually. Calm, relaxed, I really enjoyed this session, that's wonderful to hear. Lighter and much more positive. Dizzy, okay, if you are feeling dizzy, that could be that the amount of deep breathing that we've done this session has just been a bit too much for you, which is a really good and important thing to notice about yourself. So it could be that instead of I've been using 3 as my magic number, maybe it's 1 deep breath for you. Maybe it's 1 deep breath and then everything else is just with a neutral breathing pattern. So if anything is encouraging dizziness and it's being through deep breathing, just come straight back to neutral. Sit down for a moment if you need to, okay? We've got more open, more confident and physically strong. That's great to hear. Relaxed and calm, energizing. Someone's saying thank you. You are very welcome. Invigorated, better, ready to achieve. Nice. Looser, good, because there was quite a lot of stiffness at the start of the day. Taller, relaxed, stretched, brighter, more positive, awake, supported. Yes, feeling supported is so crucial. So if this session has offered you that, then I'm delighted to hear it. Okay, we've got tons coming through. Hopeful, more energized. Again, thank you so much for sharing with such honesty and openness, because I think today we've got quite a few hundred people out there. So actually to know that you are amongst a collective group that is feeling really similar things to you, and to notice that actually, again, as a big group, the movement's had a positive impact, then perhaps this can be a way at work that you can help each other and remember to do some of these stretches. Okay, now we've got about 5 minutes left of the session. The hour always dashes ahead very quickly. So Elaine, have we got any questions that anyone would like addressing?
At the moment, Rhiana, we don't have any, but hopefully people will ask some questions. They can put them in the box. That would be great.
Now I think, can you still hear me?
We just had a little,
just had a little switch over of sound there. So yes, if anybody's got any questions, you're very welcome to send them in. If you think of something after this session that you would like addressing, there's going to be a follow-up email sent to everybody with an email address that you can send questions to, and they will be collected and then forwarded anonymously onto Scottish Ballet, and we'll respond to all the questions and then send them back to the event organisers, and they'll get those answers released and shared amongst you all.
We've got a couple of questions now, actually. How should we do it, Rhiana?
Say that again, Elaine.
How often should we do this?
That's a great question. Well, little and often. So as I say, the movement that I've just done breaks down. All the different things take less than a minute. If you can do something at the start of whatever your working day looks like, and I know there's different shift patterns, if you can do something at the start, if you're somebody out there that's just noticed that some of the positive benefits of moving, then I recommend starting your day like that. Because you will benefit, and actually everyone around you will benefit as well. And then at the end of your working pattern, often we finish the day, we've taken in so much during the day, mentally and physically, that it's very easy to take that with us. So if you can use moving and breathing as a way to almost land back with yourself before you then transition into home life again, then I think that would be another beneficial time to do it. So if you can sandwich beginning and end, and then if you've got a moment, as I say, you can do some of these calf stretches while you're making a cup of tea. You could have a little breath in and out while once you've finished washing your hands in the bathroom. Find places where you can put these little things in for yourself.
We have some more questions coming through now. You've actually almost answered this one. Any tips for reminding ourselves to stop and practice? People are saying they quite often want to do it, they mean to do it, but they forget.
Yeah, I can really relate to this, which as a movement practitioner, it's still actually, in terms of self-care, moving, it is about developing a habit. So perhaps, again, I don't know what your space is like. Perhaps you can have a stick-it note near the kettle that says stretch or breathe. Perhaps you could have a little timer set on a watch or an alert on a device, a personal device, that maybe every 50 minutes just gives you a little buzz, and you stop and you take a big breath. Maybe you do a shake and you come out of it. So if you can leave notes or alerts around for yourself, that can be helpful. If not, if you are working and you're part of a team and other people have also attended this, then perhaps it's something that could become part of morning briefing or debrief at the end of a shift. If that's, I know everybody's got a different setup, that maybe it's a little agenda item, a reminder, let's all take a breath together and we can go in. So notes, reminders on devices, make it part of your team, get everybody on board with this. Put a note in your packed lunch, whatever it takes. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rhiana. We're getting quite a lot of people who have obviously got a lot out of your session today, which is great. Wonderful. And they would like to know if it's available to watch again on a recording or on YouTube, or perhaps having a written printout of exercises. Anything you can share there?
Yes, okay, so we've got tons of resources. So relating specifically to this session, actually, Tobin, would you mind just putting in the chat the link to the Scottish Ballet Health at Hand page? So we've got a dedicated web page called Health at Hand on the Scottish Ballet website, where you will find the Restore series. Now, this particular webinar is a toolkit for at work, and you will find a film that's just the moving part of this session. It's hosted on YouTube, so just beneath the film there's a menu where you will find a list of all the individual things that we've just done, and you can click on those and be taken directly to an exercise where it will be me taking you through it in exactly the way that I have today. As part of Restore, I've also made 3 20-minute sessions that have been created to be done in the privacy of your own home. It's very much about coming down into a place of calm. So if you are experiencing chronic stress or trauma at the moment, then those are much more gentle sessions, really, really designed to, I suppose, effectively be like a warm hug. Our Health at Hand series also has 10-minute videos, films, which have been made for health and social care staff teams to do together. And there's ones for the beginning of the shift, midway through a shift, and at the end of the shift. So you can go onto our website and you can explore all of those resources. A recording of this webinar, or one of the series of 6, they're all identical, will be sent out once we've completed, I think in the first week of March. We'll just choose whichever webinar we felt described things the best, and we'll send that recording out to everybody. So hopefully between that and the ability to contact anonymously with any questions that you might have that have gone unanswered, we hope that that's quite a robust series of resources for you. Now, I did say that I built in time for your feedback. The feedback is going to form part of a link. It's going to be a link that will form part of the follow-up email that you will get. It takes about 3 minutes. If you are able to complete that feedback form, it comes again anonymously to Scottish Ballet. We can't trace what health board you're from or anything, but it will give us really valuable information to let us know how we can improve our resources so that they are really, really tailor-made for you to be useful. So yes, please take 3 minutes when that follow-up email comes through. I think I'm just checking my little notes just to see if there's anything. Right, I just want to highlight one thing actually. So obviously as a dance practitioner, my expertise, Scottish Ballet's expertise, is in moving. When you've been moving and breathing deeply, it's very common for that to kick up some emotions. So if you discover that you are feeling quite emotional today, as long as you feel safe within yourself, then I think that shows that actually you've started to release some tension. Okay, so keep working with that. If anybody has any specific concerns about their physical or their mental or their emotional health, please do seek the professional guidance of a professional. So I think that's everything to conclude today. So we really hope that this toolkit can be useful for you. On behalf of Scottish Ballet, I would like to thank all of you for the invaluable work that you are doing. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a very pleasant rest of day. All the best. Bye.